We're starting with the Rams. Defense fell apart after Thanksgiving, and they're putting it back together in free agency. After signing Trent McDuffie, they added another former Chief, Jalen Watson, to the squad. They have the best Super Bowl odds all by themselves, slightly ahead of the Seahawks, who are tied with the Ravens, courtesy of the Crosby edition, Brou. Bills, Chiefs, Packers, who just lost Romeo Doubs. I think that's a pretty big loss.
Really?
After the Patriots.
Okay.
49ers, who got Mike Evans. The Eagles, who I read have spent $1 million in free agency, which is a lot in the real world.
Well, look, last year they had arguably the most talented squad, so they could afford to lose.
$1 million feels a little light.
Oh, the Howie Roseman will strike.
Waiting for it. Chargers and the Lions. Are the Rams the most Super Bowl or bust team in the league, Danny?
No. Your Ravens are. They're the most Super Bowl or bust team.
Wow.
You can't be the most Super Bowl or bust team if you've already won a Super Bowl.
That's a fair rationale.
Like I don't know
It's something to consider.
Like I don't know the first things first bylaws and what it says in the fine print.
Really up to Brou.
Okay, perfect. So I didn't have time to check. But if the coach and the quarterback
Depends.
have a Super Bowl, you can be S-Bob, but you can't be the most S-Bob. I would say your Ravens, who have
They just lost a ton yesterday, I'm told.
Exactly.
So-
But they would say that they got better. You would say that they got better. You have a quarterback who's won 3 playoff games, and we don't know if he can actually live up to his first ballot Hall of Fame MVP
2
caliber
MVPs,
talent
yes.
in the play. Like, we don't know. Right. So a lot of pressure on him. First-time head coach. I really like the head coach, but
He's got to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, apparently. There's a lot of questions around him. You got worse on offense, and I think most notably, you gave up. The Ravens' biggest advantage over the rest of the league is that they are arguably the best drafting team in football. They are in that conversation as the best drafting team in the league. And you traded multiple first-round picks for a 29-year-old edge rusher. So you have made a win-now trade with a first-time head coach and a quarterback who doesn't win in the playoffs or play well in the playoffs. So, yeah.
Speaking as a Justin Herbert guy, slow down on Lamar not being able to win in the playoffs.
It's real fun.
He's Mahomes compared to Herbert in the playoffs, all right?
Again, I don't know
am
why.
I wrong?
I don't know how Justin Herbert and his 0 league MVPs and not Hall of Fame lock status
supposed to be the best player.
is being put into the Lamar Jackson category of expectation and pressure. But listen, the Rams are all in and they're S-Bob because they have a 38-year-old quarterback who's year to year. But other than that, I think there are plenty of teams that are more desperate to win the Super Bowl, including the Ravens. Rams.
Brou, I know you have an S-Bob list. Can I diss the Rams for a second before you go?
Sure.
13th hardest schedule, which is
Middle of the pack.
middle of the pack, but I like saying 13th hardest. Like, well, okay, 12 harder.
19th easiest.
Here are their opponents. So I think it's actually harder because anytime you have the Chiefs on your schedule, the strength of schedule is based on the 6-win Chiefs, not who we really think the Chiefs are going to be. So here's what I don't like about the Rams. Look, the road games are always tough for the Rams when they're flying around. They lost at Atlanta. They lost at Carolina. Even in the playoff games in Carolina, they had a rough time. So oddly, the fact that they were able to give the Seahawks everything they wanted, they will lose to the Falcons.
Chiefs, Chargers, and Bills is very tough.
So the home games, I like to look at a home schedule, a home slate, and just mark off some W's. Maybe that's because it's the Jets and the Dolphins that we're always playing. Yeah. But when are you exhaling at home? Seahawks, no. 49ers, no. Cardinals, yes. Cowboys, maybe.
Yeah, we'll
Giants,
see.
With Harbaugh, I'm not saying that's an easy win. Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Bills. I might be selling my Ram stock, which I didn't own to begin with, but I don't love it.
I mean, it's a tough schedule, but the Rams, look, they were close to the Super Bowl last year, and they've been good every time, Stafford's healthy. So I'll give the official S-Bob list.
Excellent. How many are there?
5.
I could
Well, there's
see
more.
there being a
There are
Baker's
more
Dozen.
S-Bob teams, but I got a top 5.
Oh, the top 5. Excellent.
You know I like doing the top 5.
Perfect.
Now, I'm going to start off by saying something I may have never said on this show.
Okay.
Certainly not a lot. Danny's right.
Whoa!
I think that's the first time I've ever said that.
I was like leaning in, like, what's he gonna say?
Great day.
Yeah. You got it.
Yes, the Ravens are the most S-Bob team, period. Wow. For all the reasons you said. Look, and you didn't even mention this. They're about to give Lamar Jackson, I would assume, the biggest contract in the history of professional football. All right? Like you said, they gave up the 2 first-round picks, which I'm fine with that. But still, you gave them up for Maxx Crosby, who is 29, coming off a knee injury. And then Lamar, look, 2 MVPs. He's the only multiple-time MVP winner who has not won a championship in NFL history. Every year he goes without winning the Super Bowl, ratchets up the pressure more and more. Now, I do think, even though, others have said, and Lamar's actually pushed back, people have said no excuses and, this is the year and everything. I do feel like, now, again, they're number 1 on my list. But in some quarters, and maybe even to Lamar, having a new coach who's a brand new coach, like first-year coach, period, and then your offensive line has to be revamped after losing Linderbaum, maybe that, in his mind, takes a little pressure off, because it's rare that you expect a first-year coach in his first coaching job ever as far as head coaching to win a Super Bowl. But they still are number 1 S-Bob. I agree with you on that. Which brings us to number 2. I doubt I get any pushback on this. The Bills.
Very fair.
Josh Allen, same draft class as Lamar Jackson, has an MVP. Same thing. Gotta win the Super Bowl. All right? And this year, with Mahomes and the Chiefs out, you felt like he really had a great shot. He obviously felt like he had a great shot, and they blew it. And the Bills, the fact that they hired the head coach, Joe Brady, from within, to me tells me they expect us, we're picking up where we left off and taking it to another level. So they got to win it. Number 3, you might disagree with this, Danny. I got the Rams at 3. Because of what you said, I get that you're right. The fact that they've won the Super Bowl, McVay, that monkey's off his shoulders, off Stafford's shoulders. But they're clearly playing for now. Like, there's no tomorrow as far as they're concerned, the whole F the picks and all that stuff. They are about winning now. We've seen from the moves they've made recently, Trent McDuffie and so on and so forth. They're all about winning. And this could be Stafford's last year for all we know. Or he could get, even if he got hurt or something like that. So they're all in. At number 4, this one might be controversial. San Francisco. Wow. And here's why. Again, they're all in. You go out and you give a $60 million contract to he'll be 33 in August, Mike Evans, 33-year-old receiver. All right. George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa, Fred. They're not getting any younger. I don't know what they'll do with Trent Williams, but they are
really
not
S-Bob, you should sign Trent Williams to a 1-year deal.
I would, but it seems like he wants so much money, they're going to have to really figure that out. But here's the other thing. Kyle Shanahan, I know he's the boy wonder, but when you going to win a Super Bowl?
Yeah. He likes getting there.
Right. Like getting there and having some questionable calls late in those games when he's gotten there, even in Atlanta when he was the OC. So I just think the age of the team around Purdy, obviously Purdy is young, and then Kyle Shanahan, he's not on a hot seat if he doesn't win it, but at some point he's got to win it.
Yeah.
All right, so I got them 4.
I could see this going a few different ways.
I got 3 teams that came down to number 5. Philadelphia, Green Bay, and Detroit.
Oh.
And I went with Philadelphia, and again, obviously have a Super Bowl, but here's why. It seems like Nick Sirianni has to win the Super Bowl to keep his job. That's what it feels like. There's always a lot of noise in that organization. A.J. Brown, he might be back, for all we know. But Sirianni seems to be on the hot seat, and I think because the bar there is so high. Like this year, okay, you won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. This year you made the playoffs. And everybody's acting like the sky is falling there. The bar is so high, which I guess now, having made 3 Super Bowls in 9 years, you won 2 of them. Now they feel like we got to win the Super Bowl every year. Now, I made this list before, some of the losses. They have lost some players, but I think those guys are replaceable. Even Jalen Phillips,
Now, what's going on with the Cowboys, the original S-Bob?
Well, they have been, they're historically S-Bob because they're like America's team.
It's like another category.
They're like the Knicks. There's the Knicks. No, there's not the Knicks, but there's the Lakers, there's the Cowboys, and they're the Yankees. Those are like the 3 national teams.
Yep.
And so every year, no matter how good or bad they are, it's kind of
I thought the Knicks were
they're like Grant.
I thought the Knicks was good. Like, yeah, they should win it, but they won't.
But they're
it's fun
not.
to talk
They're
about
not
it.
like a
Sorry,
great
Ram.
franchise. I hate to say it.
Okay.
They're an expensive.
You want to move to baseball? You have quick final
Any-
thoughts.
any-
on that?
The only thing is I would have the Lions significantly higher on the list. I probably would have put them at 3rd.
Why? Here's
Not
why
in the franchise's history.
Right. Here's why I didn't put the Lions in, and why I put Sirianni above them. Campbell has job security.
Yeah.
Like no matter, I get it.
It's a younger core of players, no question, but no Super Bowl in franchise
Same thing for the
history.
Packers.
Pacheco,
I mean, they got Super Bowls.
Like it?
I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is just a stud. I don't know that that's going to be a big role for him.
I like it.
I mean, he'll be, but Gibbs gonna be the full-time.
Of course, but
it'll help a little. Yeah. I like it.
I think Pacheco still has a little bit of something.
Got some
I
juice
agree.
left.
I don't think it's just all. Pacheco's not good anymore. I'm like, well, I think the Chiefs were.
I think that was a good signing for them and him. Yeah.
Okay, head to Houston, where Team USA remained perfect. Paul Skeens dominant. Aaron Judge and Roman Anthony both hit home runs in the 3rd to make it 5-0. Game ended 5-3. USA has been rolling, but Mexico manager Benji Gill wants one more shot at Team USA. Take a listen.
I hope we play the U.S. again. That would be awesome. I would be ecstatic to face them again. For one, it's probably the championship, right? It's a championship in Miami. In fact, you know what? I want to face them more than I want anything else in the world. How's that? Unless, I don't know. Well, I don't know what the lottery is at right now, but if the lottery is somewhere around 800 million, then yeah, I'll win the lottery and cheer everybody from far. But outside of that, I desire that more than anything in the world. Face them again in Miami. I think that we'll end up 1-1 against the U.S.
All right, Brou, your reaction to that soundbite and what you've taken away from Team USA.
I'm here for it. I like what he said because even though we've only won 1 out of the 5 World Baseball Classics, we're still the big boys. The major leagues are in the United States. Mm-hmm. And so we're still the evil empire, if you will. And he feels like, with good reason, I mean, our team is stacked. We obviously beat them yesterday, but they did have the tying run on base, in the 8th inning? Mm-hmm. And so they feel like we can beat them, and they have beaten us in the past. So I think he's just like, we know we can beat them. They've got, not only are they the USA where Major League Baseball is, but they got a stacked lineup that if we beat Judge and Harper and Schwarber and so on and so forth, that just makes us look that much better. So I love what he's saying. Look, I do think, as much as you can say in baseball, which we know is a fickle sport, I do think now Team USA should roll to the final. They don't have to play, as A.J. Przinsky told us yesterday, they don't have to play Japan or the Dominican Republic until they would get to that championship game because of the brackets. So I thought Mexico going in was probably going to be our toughest game. We'll see if that plays out. But, yeah, I think now we should roll right into the finals.
I love his calculus there. It's like, well, other than, what's the lottery at?
Yeah, if it's 800 million.
If it's 800 million, like 300 million, he's just interested in the World Baseball Classic. But 800 million. So I like that internal calculus. You know, I covered baseball for forever. Covered the Royals, couple World Series teams, Cubs playoff teams, White Sox playoff teams. And when you're doing radio every day in a baseball market, one of the things you would just say is like, well, it's baseball.
Right.
Like,
right.
anything can happen. You do 162 games, and then it comes down to, best of 1, a best of 5, a best of 7. It's baseball. Anything can happen. So, sure, it's baseball. Anything can happen. But this lineup is so overwhelming. You watch, and it's an overwhelming.
It's nonstop.
It's nonstop. And so, can they lose? Of course. is anyone in their right mind going to pick them to lose? I don't see how you could.
So I'm going to show. Can we show the pitching, Dust? Team USA pitching. Our ERA, we're giving up 3 runs a game. 16. That's his total hits. 6 home runs. Jarren Duran had 2. Opponent batting average is at 168. Here's the thing. Skubal's out. He's gave you 1 game and he says, I'm going back. Skeens is going to go 1 more.
Yeah.
It's not like it's the hitting depth is not on par with the pitching depth. Partly by design, and everyone's dealing with that.
That's right.
But if you have a journeyman guy who gets hot and wants to go longer or more, throw more intense when we have our guys kind of.
Yeah.
It's a half measure for us by design.
No, well, I agree with you. And our pitching, I think, is one of our big advantages, even though our lineup is stacked. DR's lineup is stacked, too, and then obviously Japan is good. But our pitching might separate us. But to your point, if we're not able to go with our best guys all the time, then
tricky.
it could change. I wonder if, again, we talked with AJ yesterday, we've gotten more into the World Baseball Classic as the years have gone on, and we haven't won it a lot. I wonder if going forward, obviously teams don't want their players getting hurt, but will we let if we don't win this with this stacked offensive lineup, will we let the pitchers look? We're really trying to win the WBC.
Yeah.
Just like Team USA in basketball.
Yeah, but with
we
where
don't
it
put
is,
minutes restrictions on them.
No, but the Skubal issue is it's almost Detroit's fault. That if Detroit gave him his massive deal and he was locked up for $300 million, maybe he'd give us another game. But even the other day, he's like, I'm going to talk to the Tigers and I'm going to talk to my agent. I'm like, no, dude, you can't go again. You can't blow out your arm and risk 100. I understand it.
Yeah.
But it also stinks.
It might be a calendar problem. Like, these baseball teams are giving guys 9-figure deals right before, and it's right before the start of the regular season. And they're like, we want you to win it too, but we just can't risk it. So I don't know that you solve that problem.
If you've got the money, like.
But a player would be cool with it, but then would the team be cool with it?
Well,
But
my
again,
money's guaranteed, so I'm going to do it.
You still,
Sure.
and you have that issue in the other sports, like basketball. I mean, a player could get hurt.
Yeah.
But like you said, if they have locked up the contract.
But it's not right before the finals.
No, but if I agree,
Anything else,
or
like,
before
all right,
the season.
like-
It kind of is before the season. It's in the summer.
Paul Skeens will be there. He's going to get plenty of starts.
I agree.
And Pirates, I hate to break it to you, as a
This is a big
Pirates
deal.
guy,
Yeah.
this is the highlight. All right, head to OKC, game tied at 126. SJ step back 3 wins it. He goes for 35-9, 15 assists, Brou. Also tied Wilt with 126 games consecutive with at least 20 points. Here's Joker on SJ in that record, and then SJ on the game-winning shot. Take a listen.
I don't know, do people know how hard it is to do that, to play, to make a 20-point game in 10 games, not 120, whatever. It's special, and he's a special player, and it's a pleasure and privilege to battle against him.
I have answers to the test, but I got to see the questions first. So once I seen he was on my left and I was going right, I think it was Christian Braun that was in the gap. So I knew I probably was like, if I drove to shoot a midi, it's probably gonna be a contested with 2 guys. So I tried to separate from the 3 and get a good, comfortable shot, and it went down.
What was your number 1 takeaway from this game, Brou?
Well, first, let me shout out SJ. I think he's telling me, not so fast. You said Wemby's the best player in the world, not so fast. Great game by SJ. The 2 threes on the last 2 possessions, phenomenal. And I want to congratulate him. Think about this, Michael Jordan did not do this. What he's the 20 straight, 126 games, 20 straight points. LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, none of them did this. This is incredible what he's done. And Greg Jennings and I were talking before the show, and we were saying, and I've said this before on this show, if SGA's game was more spectacular, like everything else was the same, but he was a high flyer, like Ja Morant's type, as far as the excitement quotient, we would be talking about him, I think, in historic terms.
We would be
talking
already.
about, I know. And what we came to, because usually the face of the league, which he would be if he was more spectacular, and the guy that's regarded as the best player in the league is generally has something unique about them as far as the way they play, the excitement level, or the size. Jokic is 7 foot, or what Shaq was huge. He is like a perimeter version of Tim Duncan. Whereas, and he's a little more exciting than Duncan, but you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to necessarily capture our imagination. All he's going to do is go out there and play fundamentally sound, excellent basketball, and win, we'll see, more championships. So he's fantastic, but go ahead, because I don't want to step on your toes if you're going to say something.
No, listen, SGA can get anywhere he wants on the court at any given time. He's a remarkable player. Can I borrow the bonus take?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because this was the game of the year.
Yeah.
That was everything you could possibly want out of regular season basketball. It was captivating theater, start to finish. So I have 2 bonus graphics, and then I'll get to my biggest take.
Oh, 3 takes?
Wow.
Yeah,
You're going to take my extra
a
take.
triple take. A triple take, if you will. You might want to save a spot for SGA atop your MVP ballot. That game last night was.
Oh, you think that ended it?
I don't know that it ended it, but if he hits that 65-game threshold, we will talk about that game when we're talking about him winning another MVP. He did something last night only LeBron's done. 35 points, 15 assists, 0 turnovers in a game. Like, the Wilt thing is obviously an incredible all-time accomplishment, but that performance, it's like, if it's you and LeBron, we should at least take 15 seconds to note that it happened when he's carrying this team this year in the way that he's doing it. The Denver side of it, why I cannot eliminate them and why I had them second on my title pie is Oklahoma City has the best defense in the league. And I know that they had guys out, which I'll get to in a second, but Denver has just proven that they can score against Oklahoma City. They did it in the 7-game series last year. They've done it this year. Like, the Thunder give up 107 points to everybody else per game. They give up 119 when they play Joker. SGA said he has the answers to the test. Jokic has the answers to the test against OKC. Can't write him off.
3-0.
No doubt, but those games all the games have been single digits.
Yeah.
They've all come down to the end. And then, Brou, this is the last thing, and there's no graphic here. This is just more of a feel for it. I don't think I've ever seen a deeper team than Oklahoma City. Hartenstein out last night. Caruso out last night. The good Jalen Williams, who, if people forget, he had 3 NBA Finals games where he scored more than 25 points. He had a 40-point Finals game. He was All-NBA defense last year. He was an All-Star last year. He's out. Their other Jalen Williams had 29 last night. Jared McCain had the best plus-minus of any player in the game. Like, this team is so incredibly well-constructed and deep. We've seen maybe better, more spectacular starting fives. We've seen better duos at the top. I honestly, in my 30 years of watching basketball closely, I don't think I've ever seen a deeper basketball team than the Oklahoma City Thunder.
No, look, they're very deep. I think the system, I feel, has something to do with that. But it does feel like you can just plug guys in. Even when SJ was out, they kept winning. They had a winning record even when he was out. I agree with you because my other take was Denver. Don't write them out. Now, I will not, I don't think, pick them to win the West, but I do think they're capable. They have been struggling. They're now the 6th seed. They're a game and a half ahead of Phoenix for 7th.
Yeah.
All right, so if they fall out of the top 6, then anything can happen in these 1-2 game situations in the play-in. But if they're in the top 6, you have to take them seriously and give them a shot of at least knocking out one of the top, like OKC, which I think they could knock out OKC or San Antonio, or even winning the whole West. Because last night, Aaron Gordon was back.
Yes,
it was just his 2nd game back, but he didn't play well in his 1st game. Last night, 23-10. He's getting back to himself, it seems. And then give Jamal Murray credit, played through that ankle injury. And so if Denver's issue is health, even healthy, they're not guaranteed to win the West. But if they go into the playoffs at full strength, then OKC, Denver, San Antonio, and I'll still throw Minnesota in there as a sport. But they're right there with those teams.
Next game is April 10th in Denver. I'd like to see Denver win one of them before I start to believe in it.
Well, we saw 3 in the playoffs.
Playing pretty well.
Welcome back to First Things First. Greg Jennings is here with a great-looking tie. Welcome back, Greg.
I like the suit.
Check out the YouTube channel if you get a chance, and our podcast. Where are we at, Gianna? Number 41? What? We got to work harder on that. So check out the podcast if you get a
I
chance.
liked it better when you were lying. Number 3 in the world.
I keep people on their toes. Great news. Geno Smith is back on the Jets. Started his career 2013 in New York before bouncing around, finding success in Seattle, where he won Comeback Player of the Year. Sent a text to Ian Rappaport. Text from a pumped Geno Smith. Complete full circle moment back to where it all began. I'm excited to connect with my new teammates and coaches and everyone in the building, as well as build a new relationship with the fan base and community. I love this. Brou, what is there not to love? What is there, what is there not to love about this story?
Honestly, I would feel this way for any quarterback going to the Jets. I mean, look, I know
have to have one.
Geno was not good last year. I had my fun with the Geno and all that. And I don't know if he's going to turn it around or not. I feel like he is not going to turn it around with the Jets. And I look, if he had gone somewhere else, Minnesota or Pittsburgh even, like, I would feel like, okay, I'm willing to give him a chance because he was so good those previous 3 years. Maybe last year was just a bad situation. He going to another bad situation. In fact, this one might be even worse. And maybe I'm even pumped up more about this because of what we just saw. Sam Darnold, this is what teams want. We got the number 3 pick in a quarterback-heavy draft. We got Sam Darnold. What was Zach Wilson? 2? Second pick?
Yeah.
We got Zach. Neither one of them panned out for him. And it turns out Sam Darnold was actually a Super Bowl winning quarterback. They didn't know what to do with him. So you mean to tell me you think they're going to resurrect Geno's career? Look, I don't know if anybody else wanted Geno, so I'm good.
I don't think it needs resurrecting.
No.
Well, after last year,
That's
does.
it. It was just a bad day.
Yeah, but it was
a bad 15 games.
But with his
Yes.
with a long
15
day.
If you dress great, if Greg dresses great every day, and then one day
3 months straight of not dressing well, that changes things.
it's just
and here's
the Raiders.
the other thing.
Who was good on the Raiders? Is Pete Carroll not a good coach? Zasha Jetty can't run the ball? Maxx Crosby's the only guy who was any good on the Raiders last year, and they sat him down.
The Jets are just as, if not worse.
That is
That's
a good point.
That's the problem. He got Garrett Wilson. He got Broussard. They got some. I hope I'm wrong. I just feel bad for Geno. I'm not making fun of him. I feel bad for him.
So, for the Jets, the positive side of this,
Yes.
the Jets got better at quarterback.
Yes.
They improved at quarterback.
There
That
you
is
go.
the name of the game. You want to get better at quarterback. Clearly, I don't know how you feel about it with the look on your face.
Well, I'm just,
But
I mean,
with Geno,
hard to get worse.
this is a lot of what happened last year. I'm not excluding Geno from the mix because he could have played and he should have played better. But when you have an offensive line that doesn't show up, that you got people in your defenders in your face every single snap, you start to change and lose your fundamentals. And we saw that. Interceptions spiked mightily, decision making, even some of the accuracy. And he wasn't what we saw in previous years with Seattle. However, when you go to a team like the Jets where you were drafted by this organization, you were young, you weren't the player that you hoped to be for the organization, and obviously you didn't care for how the organization was run then. But you're a much mature player. You've proven that you can play in this league. So there's no doubt that he can play. It's a matter of, can he be what they need him to be prior to them getting their guy? Because Geno's not the long-term answer.
Right.
He's just, again, and we use this word with a lot of teams that struggle to find their quarterback. He's just a bridge guy right now. But he's
Bridge to what? That's the problem with them. It's like-
everybody has been a bridge guy, but he's probably one of the better bridge guys that we've seen.
That's right.
Go back to New York.
I'm with all that.
Listen, I think that Geno Smith did not have a lot of options in terms of I can go somewhere and be a starter. I don't think I got to imagine, text to Ian Rappaport aside, like if he could pick where he would go, I'm sure he would prefer to go to Minnesota. and throw to Justin Jefferson. Maybe he would prefer to go some of these other places. But he's like, Geno Smith threw 17 interceptions in 15 games last year. He was awful. The 3 years before that, he was top 8 in yards, touchdowns, and completion percentages over a 3-year body work. So I absolutely believe that Geno is better than what he showed with the Raiders. But this is the part that, on just like a human level, and you could probably speak to this, like, he's 35 years old and he has 98 starts. He had a 7-year stretch of time where he only started 5 football games because he was a backup, like post the Jets.
Yeah.
Geno probably just wants to play football. Oh, you'll let me be a starter? Okay, I'll go there. Even if I can't really win, even if the organization treated me poorly in the past, even if the fans treated me poorly. Like, he didn't have 6 options. He had this option where he could be a starter, so he took it.
Yeah, again, when you get drafted by a team, you hope to be what they drafted. And you want to see that really pan out. He has an opportunity to do what a lot of us dream. If the Packers had come to me at the end of my career and said, hey, Greg, you want to come back? I'm like, yeah. And I go there and I continue to have success. That's just like a bow on the end of my career. That's Geno right now.
He's going there on a mission.
Yeah, you want to be the reason why you turn the organization around, but I don't think that's the driving force. He just wants to get them started in the right direction.
That means something.
Yes,
For the
absolutely.
Jets, they're not S-Bob. They
sure
just
are.
need to
They
get
sure
up
are.
to we're a serious franchise.
Yes.
And Aaron Glenn is a serious guy. And now we have a serious quarterback. Minkah Fitzpatrick, like, the defense can be, I don't know, something. You know, the Jets are not well run historically.
No, I know.
Now they have some serious players.
Yeah, I'm not down in Geno on this. I agree with Danny. Like, this might be the only chance he would have had to start, and I get it. Go somewhere and start. He doesn't want to back up anymore. But I just feel like
I love
bad
it.
situation.
I think it's a storybook ending.
I do too. I
think it's
really like it.
Is it
fantastic.
going to be storybook if they're 1-6 and he's got 1.5 picks per game?
No.
I'm just
No,
and
that-
that's
I would say that
I
would
just
be
think
bad.
it could end up being a situation.
That wouldn't be great.
I just
will
feel for you,
concede
man.
that
I just
point,
feel
but I
for
like
you.
the idea of Geno getting a fresh start back in the team that drafted him.
Okay.
Afternoon headlines sponsored by Hilton Garden Inn. Hilton, it's for the stay. Eagles GM Howie Roseman, known for making deals. So far, not so much. Headline from the Delaware News Journal, Martin Frank. Why Eagles free agency disaster will only get worse. Can they respond? Article wasn't as caustic as the headline. Actually, had some faith in Howie Roseman.
I mean, in Philly, they're like, oh, that's nice.
Nevertheless, Jahan Dotson went to the Falcons. Jalen Phillips went to the Panthers. Nakobe Dean to the Raiders. Reed Blankenship to the Texans, which I love for the Texans. Don't forget, I'm very high on the Texans. A lot of people saying they had an all-time great defense last year. Until they got to the playoffs, all of a sudden they were no good.
Quarterback.
Quarterback is sneaky great.
The quarterback of the Texans?
Yes, I believe in the quarterback and the Texans in a major way, but hold on, we got to talk about the Eagles. Should Eagles fans be concerned with this lack of movement? Greg?
No. Howie Roseman has a track record of making the best moves and the right moves and putting this team in position to where they can compete for championships. Now, didn't happen last year, but just because it doesn't start the way everybody else's offseason starts and you're losing some of your players. Look, Jalen Phillips, really good player. He didn't produce the sack numbers. Now, the pressure, he gets pressure. Top 4 in pressure, I love what he's able to do. But at that price point, you're not going to pay him that amount of money on that team to be that. When you have other guys on that defensive line that you know you're going to eventually have to pay. Now, Nakobe Dean, injury-riddled, important piece in the locker room, has been effective but not a staple. We don't say, Nakobe Dean, did you see Nakobe Dean? We don't say that when we talk about this Eagles team. Played about 50-something% of the snaps. And now Reed Blankenship, he was a staple on that defense.
Yeah.
Like, he played, there was only 2 players that played more defensive snaps than he. That was Zach Bond and Cooper DeJean. So Reed Blankenship is going to be a tough one to replace. I trust Howie Roseman because of how he's run this organization and because of the pieces that he's brought in and how they've impacted that team.
Howie Roseman deserves the benefit of the doubt.
No question.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we'd all agree on that. There is a point where you can reach a tipping point of just too much lost talent, though. Like, we talk about the Chiefs not paying cornerbacks. Howie Roseman hasn't paid edge rushers, right? So Jalen Phillips got too expensive.
Yep.
Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick, Bryce Huff. Like he pays guys for like a year or two, a little amount of money, and then they get comp picks when they leave. Like, they've got a formula there. They paid Zach Bond, they lose Nakobe Dean, they drafted Jahad Campbell to replace him.
Yep.
Like, they definitely have a plan, but when you add up last year's losses after the Super Bowl year with Milton Williams, plus all of these losses, plus the cap situation they're in, like, if they trade A.J. Brown before June 1st, I looked this up today. It's a $72 million cap hit. We could probably save that topic until June.
That's the thing. It's not going to happen.
It's just not. It's not going to happen if it ever happens. So they're just. These moves are not to make them better today. They're to make their financial position better in the future. Like, no one's going to argue the Eagles are a better football team today.
Well, but I do think, because last year they were arguably the most talented team in the league, certainly one of the handful of most talented teams. So they could lose some talent and still be contender status. And then when you put on there Howie Roseman and he's going to make some smart moves, I think they'll have enough talent to be a contender. My question is the culture there. I could see this being a year that it just goes south for them because of the culture, because of it feels, a lot of it's A.J. Brown, who'll probably be back, it looks like. Maybe it falls over this year.
Wow.
But I think the biggest thing for them is what do the other teams in the division do? If Dallas doesn't improve defensively, if Washington, which, presumably will have Jaden Daniels there the whole season, but what if they're not as good as we might expect? And what if the Giants don't take the jump under Harbaugh? Then the Eagles still could be atop the division. But if those three teams, or a couple of them, get as good as some people think, and I think they could make jumps, that's when I think it could be tough for the Eagles.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.